In a world where cunning minds dominate, ignorance is your biggest enemy. Today, we reveal 6 unmistakable signs of a foolish man, traits that could cost you power, respect, and control. Recognizing these is not optional, it's essential. Because foolishness isn't harmless. It ruins lives, destroys empires, and leaves you vulnerable to manipulation. Miss these signs, and you risk becoming a pawn in someone else's game. As Machiavelli warned, surround yourself with fools, and you become one. Every social gathering, every interaction, presents a critical miscalculation, the belief that kindness serves as a shield against betrayal and cruelty. A foolish person wears his kindness like a suit of armor, convinced that by being virtuous, he will receive virtue in return. He operates under the illusion that if he shows respect, he will be respected. If he lowers his defenses, others will do the same. However, this is not how the game of power is played. The foolish individual equates being soft-hearted with nobility, which ultimately renders him easy prey for those who possess cunning. Consider how this naive individual behaves in public. He apologizes for things he has not done, tolerates veiled insults that are wrapped in polite tones, and agrees to terms that undermine his worth. He laughs nervously when others cross his boundaries, believing it all to be an act of compassion. The powerful, however, recognize this behavior for what it truly is: weakness. They see that in the eyes of the cunning, kindness without calculation is merely vulnerability laid bare. A wise man can be kind, but he does so only when it serves a strategic purpose. He can be generous, yes, but never to the point of sacrificing his own well-being. Now, observe how swiftly predators gather around the foolish man. Manipulators flatter him, takers test his limits, and narcissists feed off his generosity and goodwill. What does the foolish man do in response? He continues to give, hoping that one day the world will recognize his inherent worth. Yet, power is not earned through pity. It is seized through presence, precision, and the exercise of authority. This foolish man is the one who offers help to those who never ask for it, the one who says yes when he genuinely wants to say no, and the one who is always available, always willing to please, and always eager to be accepted. He has been taught that goodness guarantees safety, that kindness shields one from harm, but reality is far more unforgiving. The world does not protect the kind-hearted. It tests them. It pushes, pulls, and stretches them to their limits, searching for a breaking point. And the more he bends to accommodate others, the more they take advantage of his willingness to yield. Every act of selflessness makes him appear more expendable. Every effort to please those around him strips away another layer of his identity. He becomes a silent presence in a room full of voices that demand more, never satisfied, never truly grateful. His generosity becomes expected, not appreciated. And when he finally needs support, when he reaches out for the same kindness he so freely gives, he is met with indifference. The illusion of safety is a cruel deception. He believed that being good would protect him, that if he avoided conflict and remained agreeable, he would be spared the world's brutality. But the truth is undeniable. Without boundaries, kindness turns into weakness, and weakness invites predators. Until he learns to draw a line, until he understands that true respect is earned through strength, he will remain a passive participant in his own downfall. The world does not reward passive kindness. It respects those who wield power with intent, those who stand firm in their values and command their space. Will he continue to fade into the background, sacrificing himself for the comfort of others? Or will he rise, reclaim his worth, and step forward as someone to be reckoned with? The choice is his, but time is relentless, and the moment to decide is now. Moving on to sign number 2. The foolish man speaks more than he thinks. He cannot keep his mouth shut. He views silence as a burden rather than a strategic weapon. Words pour from him not out of necessity, but from a deep-seated fear of emptiness when he is not heard. He talks in order to be liked, to gain attention, and in doing so, he makes himself an easy target for manipulation. In a room full of strangers, he reveals everything: his beliefs, vulnerabilities, ambitions, and fears, in an attempt to connect. However, he confuses this openness with authenticity, failing to grasp that revealing too much can be detrimental. A man who cannot control his tongue has effectively surrendered control over his fate. Words, once spoken, cannot be taken back. They linger, they travel, and they transform into weapons in the hands of those who seek advantage. While the wise remain patient, gathering information in silence, the foolish man speaks without restraint, unaware that he is unwittingly shaping his own downfall. In his desperate attempt to impress, to gain recognition, he reveals too much: his fears, his ambitions, his weaknesses, all laid bare for the world to dissect. He believes that openness fosters connection, that exposing his thoughts will earn him admiration. But admiration is not given freely. It is earned through calculated speech and measured action. Those who wield power listen more than they speak. They observe, analyze, and use knowledge as a tool. Meanwhile, the reckless talker becomes a source of entertainment, his words twisted, his intentions misinterpreted, his trust misplaced. He mistakes attention for respect, failing to see that the crowd is laughing at him, not with him. Every careless word is a transaction, giving away a piece of his strategy, his defenses, his edge. And when the moment arrives, when the stakes are high and influence is needed, he finds himself powerless, his credibility eroded by his own voice. True mastery begins with discretion. Power is not in how much one reveals, but in how much one withholds. Will he recognize the cost of his unchecked speech before it's too late? Or will he continue spilling his thoughts into the open, oblivious to the dangers that lurk in the silence of his listeners? Sign number 3 highlights the foolish man's tendency to trust without testing. In his mind, trust is a default setting, something to be given freely and without scrutiny. He extends trust without judgment, assuming the best in others simply because it feels noble to do so. This blind trust leaves him vulnerable to betrayal, as he fails to recognize the importance of evaluating character and intentions. Watch as he becomes a pawn in someone else's game, sharing secrets and lending support without considering the potential for deception. When betrayal eventually occurs, this foolish man will attribute it to misfortune rather than acknowledge his own failure to assess those he allowed into his inner circle. He confuses friendliness with integrity, charisma with honesty, believing that trust reflects love or morality. In reality, trust is transactional. It must be earned through consistency, time, and trial. The wise man observes, listens, and waits, dispensing trust cautiously, while the foolish man leaps in without questioning the motives of others. Sign number 4 exposes the foolish man's hunger for validation rather than respect. There is a subtle but significant difference between a man who seeks to be respected and one who merely craves approval. The former commands power, while the latter bleeds for attention. The foolish man almost always opts for the latter, selling his dignity, bending his values, and silencing his instincts, all in pursuit of a smile, a compliment, or a pat on the back. He walks into a room and immediately conveys his desperation. "Do you like me?" His demeanor becomes agreeable, even when he disagrees internally. He laughs at jokes that belittle him, praises those who outrank him, and seeks acceptance at any cost. He mistakenly believes that if everyone likes him, he will be safe from harm. However, this is a flawed understanding of human interactions. The man who seeks validation will always be subject to the whims of those who grant it. Sign number 5 is the tendency to react emotionally rather than strategically. A man who cannot manage his emotions cannot control his fate. The foolish man reacts impulsively, mistaking emotional display for strength. One insult can provoke an explosive response. One setback can lead to despair. One betrayal ignites a thirst for revenge he cannot effectively deliver. This is the individual who confuses emotional expression with wisdom, failing to realize that emotions can cloud judgment and blur the lines of reason. His emotional outbursts reveal his weaknesses. Instead of maintaining composure when insulted, he raises his voice, threatens, and defends himself as if his pride is all that remains. In the face of failure, he does not regroup quietly. Instead, he complains and seeks pity, sharing his misfortunes with anyone willing to listen. Each time he vents, he confirms what the strong already suspect. He is not built to endure hardship. Sign number 6 reveals a tendency to blame others for one's failures. The foolish man rarely looks in the mirror. Instead, he seeks external scapegoats for his disappointments. When he stumbles, it is always someone else's fault. His parents, his boss, the system, fate, never his own poor decisions or emotional impulsiveness. This inability to take responsibility keeps him trapped, as a man cannot fix what he refuses to admit is broken. He may feel pain and express it loudly, cursing the world for his misfortune, but he will not analyze his suffering. He prefers to project blame onto others rather than confront his own shortcomings. This refusal to acknowledge personal responsibility prevents him from growing and evolving. He remains stagnant, unable to adapt to changing circumstances. Now you have seen the foolish man, not the one in rags, but the one disguised as clever, yet revealing his ignorance with every word, reaction, and excuse. He fills his life with noise and illusions, never embracing silence or truth. As Machiavelli observed, he studied such men, watching them self-destruct, not through a single monumental error, but through 1,000 small betrayals against their own potential. The refusal to learn, the fear of discomfort, the hunger for validation, and the rejection of responsibility are not mere accidents. They are fatal patterns. If you recognize these signs in yourself, you stand at a crucial crossroads. One path is easy, requiring nothing but pride and excuses. The other is arduous, demanding self-mastery, brutal honesty, and the courage to transform. Most will never choose the second path, but those who do become formidable individuals, feared, respected, and unstoppable. The journey towards self-awareness and mastery is the key to unlocking true power, leaving behind the chains of foolishness and embracing the strength that wisdom affords. It requires a commitment to growth, a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths, and the discipline to transform weaknesses into strengths. Transformation is not a simple task. It often demands facing one's fears and shortcomings head-on. It requires examining past decisions and learning from mistakes. Those who embark on this journey must be prepared for resistance, both from within and from the world around them. Yet, the rewards of this journey are immense. A profound sense of empowerment, clarity, and the ability to navigate life's complexities with confidence. The legacy of wisdom is built on the foundation of self-awareness and the willingness to embrace change. It is about becoming a figure of respect rather than one of pity. Embracing the lessons of Machiavelli means understanding the dynamics of power, influence, and human behavior. It involves recognizing the patterns of foolishness in ourselves and others and choosing to rise above them. In conclusion, recognize the signs of foolishness not only in others, but within yourself. It's easy to point fingers, to call out the mistakes and shortcomings of those around us. But the real challenge, the one that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, is the ability to look inward and confront the habits that hold us back. Foolishness isn't just about making mistakes. It's about refusing to learn from them. It's about repeating patterns that no longer serve you, settling for mediocrity when greatness is within reach. But here's the truth. You are not bound by your past choices. You are not defined by your failures. You have the power to transform, to evolve, to rise above the limitations that once seemed permanent. So ask yourself, Are you ready to step beyond the familiar comfort of stagnation? Are you willing to embrace the discomfort that comes with growth? Because wisdom is earned, not gifted. Strength is forged through struggle, and true mastery is cultivated over time. No one hands you respect. You command it through the discipline you build and the actions you take. Right now, you stand at a crossroads. You can remain where you are, wrapped in the shadows of indecision, or you can make the bold choice to step forward, to challenge your fears, to silence the doubts, and to claim the life you are meant to lead. The journey begins with a single step, a decision, a commitment. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Don't let another day slip by in hesitation. The choice is yours, and the time is now. Step into the light of wisdom. Step into the power of transformation, and become the force that leaves an undeniable mark on the world. Your future is waiting. Take that step today.